and also I just feel like I'm kind of in this phase of experimenting.
Yeah.
So I don't want that pressure of like a whole album. Like, no, I'm just trying to have fun and see what I make.
You're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Tyla has always been the girl who could set an entire dance floor on fire with just one hook. But with her latest release, WWP, We Wanna Party, she's also found herself at the center of a storm she probably didn't see coming. This EP was supposed to be a fun, short bridge between her debut album and whatever comes next. Instead, it has sparked endless debates about whether she's losing steam, whether she's being misunderstood, and whether her global audience even gets who she really is. From the second WWP dropped, the internet had opinions. Some fans were thrilled. They felt like this was Tyla doing what she does best, giving them something to dance to, keeping the energy alive, and proving that Amapiano isn't going anywhere.
So for me, like, this wasn't planned at all. Like, I was actually working towards an album. Yeah, like, I was in the studio, locked off, like, making music. And I kind of, like, as I started making a lot of music that I was excited about, like, I just didn't want to hold on to it, like, for too long. I was kind of like, nah, summer's coming. Like, let me feed my tigers a bit, you know? So I just
Babe was
wanted
feeding
to
the streets.
Yeah, you know, I just need to feed the streets a bit. They seem a little bit hungry. So I just wanted a little, you know, cute little pack.
Others immediately latched onto the numbers. They pointed out that the EP didn't make it to the Billboard 200 in the US and barely sold a few thousand units its first week.
Mr. Media is all the people that are lying on my name. Yeah, that's Mr. Media. I mean, there's no names. You know who you are.
In today's music industry, that kind of performance is blood in the water. People start throwing around the word flop before the second week even begins. And suddenly, one of the most promising stars out of South Africa is having to defend whether she still deserves her seat at the table. But it's never just about numbers, is it? Part of why Tyla is getting so much heat right now is because she's not just an artist. She's a symbol. She represents a wave of African artists taking over the global stage. And that comes with pressure most people can't even imagine. It's not just about making catchy music. It's about representing an entire continent in the eyes of the world. Every move she makes gets dissected. Every interview clip becomes a debate. Every word she uses is suddenly a think piece. And nowhere was that more obvious than in the backlash around her proudly calling herself coloured. Now, anyone from South Africa knows that coloured is a very real cultural identity there, with its own history, traditions, and community. It's not a slur, it's a category used in the country for generations. But when that word travelled across borders and landed in front of American audiences, it hit differently. For Black Americans, coloured is a word tied to segregation, Jim Crow, and centuries of pain. So when Tyla used it casually, some people felt offended, others were confused, and a lot of folks wondered why she didn't clarify what it meant in her context sooner. And yet, for every critic calling her out, there are just as many fans defending her. They argue that Tyla shouldn't have to change who she is or erase her cultural identity just because some people outside of South Africa don't understand it. They point out that part of her charm is that she brings her full self to the table, including the parts that aren't tailored for American consumption. To them, WWP is a win because it doubles down on Amapiano, an African genre that is taking over clubs worldwide. They see her streams, which are massive, as proof that she's still on top of her game. After all, not every artist needs to be a first-week sales monster to have a lasting impact.
For a while, I just felt like, damn, like, relax. Like, relax.
Pipe down. We say
like,
pipe down.
Like, pipe down,
Yeah, pipe
like,
down,
chill.
babe. Yeah.
It was just getting annoying. Like, I hate people in my business. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of embrace it now, but at the time, I felt like, damn, like, you're going to analyze every little thing I do.
Right.
For a while, I felt weird about it. And then I realized, like, you kind of have to just do what you want to do the way you want to do it. And everyone's going to have their own opinion, and that's okay.
Girl, do you know what I've realised? It's not even just in the media. You could be at the workplace. You could be in school. You could be walking down the road and someone has got something to say.
Yeah.
This is where things get really interesting. Tyla's legacy isn't just being written on the charts. It's being written in how she weathers moments like this. If her career so far has taught us anything, it's that she knows how to break ground. Remember when Water became a global TikTok sensation and earned her a Grammy for Best African Music Performance? And most recently, she won her second MTV VMA award. That isn't a fluke. That is a young artist finding the sweet spot between local authenticity and global appeal. The same thing can be said about her debut album, which gave her a seat at the table in the pop conversation. That's not the kind of momentum you just lose overnight because of one EP that some people think underperformed. What we're really seeing right now is a clash between expectations and reality. The expectations were sky high. Fans thought she was going to drop another game-changing moment. Critics were ready to measure her against the numbers from her debut, and the industry was waiting to see if she could keep her winning streak alive. Reality is a little messier. WWP is short. It feels like a transition project more than a statement piece, and it doesn't have that one undeniable viral hit that can drown out the noise. That doesn't mean Tyla is over. It just means she's human, and her career has peaks and valleys like anyone else's. If anything, this might be the moment that forces her and her team to regroup and figure out how to make her next move her biggest one yet. There's also something to be said about how fast the internet turns on artists. We live in a time where one underwhelming release, one awkward interview answer, or one misunderstood comment can flip the narrative completely. A year ago, Tyla was the golden child, fresh, exciting, and unstoppable. Now some corners of the internet are acting like she's done. But music history is full of stars who had rough patches early in their careers, only to come back stronger than ever. Beyoncé's first solo single wasn't even her biggest hit. Ariana Grande had to prove herself beyond Nickelodeon before she became a pop powerhouse. Burna Boy had years of building before he became the African giant everyone knows now. If anything, this moment could be the test that shows just how resilient Tyla really is. And resilience might be the most important part of her legacy, because what Tyla's doing isn't easy. She's carrying the weight of being one of the first South African women to truly break into the global pop conversation at this level. She's blending genres, crossing borders, and trying to stay true to herself while being marketed to wildly different audiences. That's a balancing act that would exhaust even the most seasoned star, and she's doing it all in real time, under the brightest spotlight she's ever had. Of course, there are going to be bumps along the way. Of course, there are going to be moments where things don't land perfectly. But that doesn't erase the fact that she's shifted the landscape just by existing in it. In fact, the hate might even be proof of how important she's become. Nobody bothers to criticize artists who don't matter. The fact that every move she makes turns into a debate shows that she's shaping culture, not just participating in it. And while that can be brutal in the short term, because who wants to log onto social media and see strangers dissecting your identity, it's also what cements her place in history. People are talking about Tyla because she's a big deal. People are fighting about her because she's influential enough to move the needle. Where she goes from here is going to be fascinating to watch. She could play it safe and try to appeal to the biggest possible audience, smoothing out the edges that make her uniquely South African. Or she could double down on who she is, keep pushing Amapiano and her own sound, and trust that the right audience will stick with her. If the past is any indication, she's probably going to choose the latter. Tyla has never seemed interested in being generic. She's interested in being unforgettable. And honestly, that might be the best way to turn all this hate into fuel. Because at the end of the day, a legacy isn't defined by one charting week, one controversy, or one awkward moment online. It's defined by the body of work you leave behind and the way you make people feel. Tyla has already made millions of people dance, put South African music on new stages, and opened doors for artists who will come after her. That can't be undone by a few angry tweets or disappointing stats. If anything, moments like this are just plot twists, the kind that make the story even better when she eventually drops the album that shuts everybody up. And that's the story of where Tyla stands right now. Loved, hated, debated, but still one of the most exciting artists to watch. If anything, this whole chapter might just be the setup for her biggest comeback yet. And I have a feeling she's about to prove a lot of people wrong. What do you think? Is WWP getting unfair hate? Or did Tyla really miss the mark this time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you enjoyed the deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.